everyone a little intro to what we're calling this episode?
Titty talk.
Welcome to Titty Talk.
We're talking about tits. That's everyone's favorite subject.
Particularly these two.
The square ones.
Yeah. Oh, man. Dude.
Let them know.
Man, that was possibly the best insult I've ever received, right? So this picture of me gets shared on You Look Like a Man. I'm cruising around in like bodysuit joggers, looking pretty fucking good, right? And I think this picture gets shared on Facebook. Maybe I think it was for just a Hate Brand Goods ad. It was just the khaki jogger ad.
Yeah.
And someone or a couple people had started commenting on Facebook that I look like a man, blah, blah, blah. People are saying things. I'm too muscular, what have you.
I love how clever someone thinks they are to say you look like a man. Meanwhile, it's so unclever. There's a page about it.
Right. And then some guy chimes in with the best comment. He absolutely won the internet that day because there's not even anything you can say to that. You know, sometimes guys just kill it. And he commented, "Look at those square tits." And I that's one of those things where you're like, well, I can't even respond as you won. Like, congratulations. Incredible. So now the running joke is I have Lego tits. And here we are. Titty Talk 2021. Year of the titties.
That's true, everyone. That is the year of the titties. And so due to Bonnie's recent announcement of deciding to have a double mastectomy as a preventative surgery, you want to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I announced on my Instagram like a week and a half ago about what I have been going through, what I was diagnosed with, and all that. So we are going to dive into it today. And I'm going to answer some questions that I got from my Q&A that night. And as I answer the questions, hopefully you guys will learn a little bit more about, my condition and the measures that I'm taking to go forward and live a healthy life. So a quick bit of backstory on this. About 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with the BRCA1 mutation. For those of you that aren't sure what this is, don't really know what that means. Basically, it means that I have a deletion in my genetic coding that makes me more susceptible to breast and ovarian cancer, particularly breast cancer. The reason I know about this is because at the time, both of my parents had cancer. My mom has breast cancer, and my dad was also dealing with prostate cancer. And so my sister, being the smart older sister doctor that she is, suggested that we get tested. At the time, I was like, okay, well, this seems like kind of a waste of time and money, but I'll do it so Molly's happy and she doesn't have to worry about it anymore, right? And my sister, being who she is convinced that it's her, right? She's convinced that she's going to have it and have to deal with that. So we went to the University of Iowa hospitals, amazing hospitals there, great cancer facilities. We had the genetic test done. It was just a blood draw, and I was a lucky winner. So I have that deletion in my genetic coding, and over time, my risk of breast cancer goes up to about 85%, and my risk for ovarian cancer goes up to like 55%. So uncomfortably high numbers, right? So there are I wouldn't say a lot of things, I guess, but there is a treatment protocol that comes with this. So once you're diagnosed, they get you on a treatment schedule. And what that looks like is chest MRIs, mammograms, and transvaginal ultrasounds every 3 to 6 months.
What would be like a normal time frame for those type of things?
Oh, okay. Yeah, good question. So typically women don't start mammograms until they're 40.
Okay.
Unless they are higher risk, like myself, right? And transvaginal ultrasounds you wouldn't get unless you have, cysts or other issues down there. And chest MRIs, that would be more for cancer screening.
Right, like
itself.
if they already know we're at high risk.
Right, because that's your soft tissue imaging, right? So Yes, so I have to do those a lot more than your average bear, which is lame because mammograms suck.
That's what I understand. We don't exactly have an equivalent.
And
The worst thing that ever happens is we get a prostate exam.
We'll get into the mammograms and all that. But so that's the treatment protocol I've been doing for about 7 years now. And the one thing that has kind of always been frustrating with that is no one keeps track of your shit but you, right? Like no one's calling you and like, hey, it's time to do this. So you really have to make sure you are on top of it, scheduling your own stuff, and being an advocate for your own health because unfortunately you won't feel like anyone else is. Here we go. So yeah, that's the treatment that I've been doing for the past 7 years. And in 2020, I had 2 scares. I found lumps in my right breast twice this year, and it's super fucking scary. I actually had 2 scares, found a lump in my right breast 2 times during the year, which is super uncool, especially if you're someone like me who's at high risk. And I decided that, you know, I'm in a really good place emotionally, personally, financially, you know, things are very stable in my life. And I decided that I was going to schedule my preventative mastectomy. So this is what they recommend for people who have the gene. It's the best way to lower your risk, right? Remove the tissue that's at risk. So I'm going to have a preventative mastectomy and reconstruction on March 12th this year, like a month and a half. It's happening.
How do you feel about it? How do you feel being, 45, 50 days out?
Nervous.
Yeah.
Nervous, scared, excited, anxious, all of the above. Yeah, it's a lot of emotions. There's some days, and I mean, you've seen it happen. There's some days where I'm just fucking frustrated. Like, I just get really, really mad. I get really mad, and I struggle with that anger because I don't have anywhere to put it. Like, there's no one to be mad at.
Well,
like,
no, because
you operate
no
one's
with
fault.
You get what you deserve, and this isn't one of those things. This is just shitty cards.
I do operate kind of that way, and so it's frustrating when things don't line up. But yeah, it's just a shitty hand of cards to be dealt. And other days I'm fairly accepting of that. And some days it makes me really, really mad. And I wish I had more normal, if you will, problems to deal with. But here we are. Here we are. So I've got it scheduled. And yeah, that's happening in March. Like I said, I'm scared, anxious, but also excited because I know it's the right move to make.
What are you scared about?
Just surgery.
Because
I know the recovery process will be tough for me mentally and taking time off from the gym for sure.
I don't think it will be as bad as you think it will, right? Because you're an athlete and because you've had injuries, it'll be linear progression. Like you'll know when it's time to be back in the gym.
For sure. I've only gone under once. I'm not a surgery pro, such as yourself.
I can help.
Yeah, which is great, right? Yeah, the only time I've actually gone under was for my wisdom teeth.
That doesn't even count.
Well,
I don't count that as a surgery.
I don't know if I would count it as a surgery, but you are under.
Yeah, you're definitely under anesthesia.
Right. So that's the only reference I have for that. So that's going from something fairly minor to a really, really big procedure.
The good news, being under is the better way to go.
Yeah, they do recommend that.
Yeah, I would recommend going under.
Not cool. Yeah, so that's definitely where some anxiety is. And it's a really weird, big decision to just kind of voluntarily get rid of parts of your body.
Yes, that is very, very odd.
And I think it takes some time to come to terms with that. And I think for a long time, like I was kind of in denial about it. I didn't want to talk about it because talking about it made it real. Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. And like, I'm trying to think about what, like if I did that at a younger age and what it would have been the equivalent of. I have to think about it.
And in the time that we've been together, obviously I've I've matured, I've grown, and I'm much better at talking about it. But for a long time, I didn't want to because I'm just like, I feel like it kind of makes me look kind of weak. And I know. And I never wanted to be treated any differently because of it. Like, I'm not comfortable getting people's sympathy. Yeah. And
I mean, yeah. And look, and I get all that. I get it all, especially with being hurt or chronic pain or any of that like not wanting the sympathy thing. You don't want to be looked at like that fucking wounded person.
Right. Like that. It's so.
Yeah. Well, because when people are like that, people around you become like they coddle you.
Yes.
And so that's the part that fucking sucks. It's that feeling of being coddled. Like all of a sudden now, because you have this one thing, you're now lowered in every single category. Like you don't understand what jokes are funny anymore. And you don't have a frame of reference for good or.
Well, and I've always valued being so strong.
Yeah.
Right. Emotionally, mentally, physically, all of the above. Right. And then I feel like this just punches a hole in that.
Well, I mean, then again,
but
perhaps you're capable of dealing with it.
But this is also why I wanted to talk about it and take it public, if you will.
Yeah.
Because then it's back to me being in control.
Right. I mean, and you also, you didn't choose to take it public very early. I mean, you chose to take it public about 40 days before you're getting them all lopped off.
Well, and 7 years in.
Right.
Right. And that was, one of the questions and stuff, which we can dive into. But yeah, I think it's all about control. And for me, that's what the surgery is. I'm taking control of my life. I'm deciding what route I want to go, and that the universe might have decided this, but I'm going this direction.
Well, I think the universe told you that these are your opportunities or possibilities, right?
Right.
That this is possibly in the cards.
Yeah.
But you can either continue to live with this weird possibility or make a call.
Yeah. I've got a chance to take the wheel.
Right.
And I'm going to do it.
I'm for that.
All right. So
we got some questions from your Instagram peoples.
I did announce on my page, like I said, about a week ago, and then I figured people were going to have a ton of questions, which they did. So I put a Q&A up on my story last night, and I'm going to go over some of those questions that I got, and we can dive into things a little bit deeper than I did on my story.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So first question, would you recommend all females go get this testing?
So it probably isn't necessary for everyone. A lot of that is going to depend on your family history. And like I said, my sister suggested that we get tested because my mom has breast cancer and my dad was dealing with prostate cancer at the time. But also on my dad's side, where the gene is, his mother had cancer, his older sister had cancer, he had cancer. And his younger sister had issues as well.
So it's running in the genetics.
Yes, very blatantly. So obviously it was the right move to make. A lot of this also will depend on what ages your family members were when they got cancer. So my dad's older sister was 30 when she got breast cancer, which is pretty young for that.
Young, right?
So that's also a huge red flag without knowing about the gene. So for us, it was absolutely the right move to make. I think if there is a lot of cancer in your family, talk to your OBGYN about it, about wanting to get tested. I don't see a situation where you would be denied. But our healthcare system is a little wonky sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, it's even been weird for you at this, right? Because you're someone that needs to go get tested more often for things, and if there are lumps or anything else that you find, that shit needs to be taken serious.
Yeah, the only way I got in for my regular Pap smear this year, which you have to do to get your birth control refilled, et cetera.
That makes sense.
And this is more of a COVID. thing. But the only way I got in for my pap smear to get my prescription refilled was because I found a lump in my breast. So that's the only way I got to see my gynecologist in June when things were fairly locked down with COVID. So ladies, if you need to see your doctor, lie to get in.
What a fuck situation, man.
Yeah.
Don't
there's some questions
understand.
about that too, like coming up. But so do I think it's necessary for everyone? Probably not. If you are thinking, yo, I have an aunt and an uncle, and yeah, go get tested.
Right.
Absolutely.
There's
And
also there's no harm in getting tested.
no, it's a couple $100. I think my insurance covered part of it. I don't really remember. I got
Use
a lot
code
of questions.
Bonchro
Oh man, see if it works. I got a couple questions about like cost and insurance, but honestly, guys, I really don't remember because it was like 7 years ago. So I apologize. But guys, don't live in fear, right? You can go get tested and get this knowledge and take control. And
Man, anxiety comes from the not knowing.
the
not knowing isn't control.
I had so many, like an uncomfortable amount of women, and I haven't even gotten through all those DMs. I had like
Right.
an uncomfortable amount of women that are like, my mom had breast cancer and so did my aunt, but I'm afraid to go get tested. Yo, those messages kill me. Like it actually hurts me to read them.
Yeah.
I know it's scary, but you have to know.
It's
Right?
heavy. It's heavy, but
it's
man, you gotta
absolutely heavy.
fucking know. And I understand the apprehension because it's kind of the cat in the box deal, right?
Yeah, of course.
You know, that if you put a cat in a box with poison, as long as you don't open the box to prove that the cat is dead, there's still a chance the cat's alive.
Right.
So technically opening the box is what kills the cat.
Yeah.
Or that is the philosophy behind that thought experiment.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Same thing.
Truth is,
Yo, you
it's
can
there or it isn't.
and if it is
pretending.
there, you can take control.
Next
it.
question, Brant.
Next question.
What made you want to share something so personal? And by the way, sending all my red hearts.
Oh. So like I touched on earlier, I have known for about 7 years, but I didn't really feel like there was much to share until a surgery was scheduled. And like I said, for a long time, I wasn't ready to talk about it. I wouldn't bring it up to anyone. I wasn't comfortable talking about it, and I was in a bit of denial that it was even a thing I was dealing with. But yeah, the surgery's on the books. That makes it very, very real. And before I shared this, I only knew, 1, 2 other people that had the BRCA gene mutation, that had mastectomy and reconstruction, or just had the BRCA gene, sorry. And I wanted to be a resource for people. I didn't know anyone like me, a 33-year-old powerlifter who has the gene, who has the platform and reach that I do. So I wanted to share and be a resource and someone that could give information and awareness and shed some light on it, because
be a connector.
Right.
Maybe with your reach or, for anyone listening, maybe with the reach that they have, it's tough to find someone and it's easy to feel alone.
Oh, and that's how I've felt for so long.
Especially not talking about it. Weird. No one also has your problem that you haven't told anyone you have. Fucking crazy.
Right. Weird how that works.
Immediately you put it out in the universe and it's like, hey, we have people.
And so many people commented that they were also dealing with the same thing, or had dealt with the same thing, or tagged a friend that was dealing with the same thing. So immediately that sense of community grows exponentially, right? All of a sudden I've been introduced to so-and-so and this girl and that person and all these people that want to talk and want to share their story. And that connection is a huge, huge part of it. And I wanted to be really, really transparent about the whole process. My feelings leading up to surgery, my recovery, et cetera, et cetera. I said I was going to share the good days and the bad days. Lately, there's been a lot more good than bad, which is awesome.
Which is good.
Scheduling appointments can get frustrating. That's where usually what leads to my why me feelings is the frustration of,
Of bureaucracy.
Working with the hospitals and getting things scheduled. Yeah, that's usually
why
what
does it
leads to
have
my
be
frustration.
such dog shit. But we're not fixing it here.
We're not fixing it here. So
It's dog shit, people. We know it and everyone does.
Moral of the story, it was time for me to finally open up, share what I'm about to do, connect with others, and be a resource for everyone. That was the whole plan, you know? It was never, oh, poor me, look what I'm dealing with. It's the message of taking the wheel of your own life.
Yeah. I think it's really important. I think it's really important to not sit there and just kind of wait for it to come to you if there's a chance it's coming.
Right.
You know, because man, sitting there and hiding under the fucking rock doesn't make it go away. It doesn't make it any safer. It doesn't, do any of that. Mm-mm. See what else. Have you or will you have any preventative surgeries for the ovarian cancer?
I have not, but I will at some point. Date of that or year of that or whatever is still to be determined, because that one will cause significant hormonal changes. So when they take your ovaries, essentially you go through menopause, and depending on when I do that, it will be earlier than when I will normally go through it, right? So I'll have to get on hormone replacement therapy and everything that goes along with that.
Hormone replacement therapy is not that big a deal.
Maybe for you.
Yeah, I don't know how more complicated it is for ladies.
I don't know, but we'll find out.
Yeah. Yay.
So that is called an oophorectomy. And basically it is kind of a fun word. They go in through your belly button and maybe also 2 spots on your sides, and they pull out your tubes and ovaries. The procedure, I think, is pretty quick and easy. It's an outpatient thing. You're in and out. But yeah, that one does have all the hormonal
but they leave the
implications.
Uterus.
Yes, I'm not going to do a full hysterectomy. It's more surgery than is really necessary. And,
This is going to sound like a dumb question.
Okay.
If you have a full hysterectomy and they remove the uterus.
Do I still have a vagina?
Of course you have a vagina. Does it make more room in there?
I don't. Just room in my body cavity?
Well,
Or where does the
vagina
end?
Right, because I know where the cervix is.
Right.
And that's the start of the uterus, right?
Yes.
So the cervix is gone?
Brant, pull up a female anatomy, please. No.
So would the cervix still be there, or did the cervix get removed with the uterus?
Okay, that's your question. I'm not sure. I think the cervix
All right,
is
look
still...
at me like I'm a dummy then.
No, I just didn't know where your question was going. Oh, good work, Brant. This young man is like, hell yeah, I'll pull it up. Yeah, I mean, so the cervix is in between. So I would imagine it's still there.
Well, I mean, it seems like the cervix is the muscle
at the base of the uterus.
Yeah, like it kind of seems like that whole pair.
Okay, so I'm not sure. I don't
think a pair is the term.
As a light bulb. Kind of
there you go. Yeah, a light bulb.
Yeah, I haven't really done much research into hysterectomies, so I don't know what they do.
Brent, can we find out, in a hysterectomy, does the cervix get removed? Full hysterectomy.
I mean, if we're looking at that diagram right there, it looks very much to be uterus, right? And maybe they just kind of...
The womb, cervix... The womb, cervix... Oh, am I still muted?
There you are.
The womb, cervix, fallopian tubes, and ovaries are removed. That's a total hysterectomy.
Okay, so there you go.
So then because it seems like the cervix is the back of the vagina.
Yeah.
So if that's removed, how does that?
I'm not sure what they do to the back of the vagina.
It's just open now. You can just go anywhere you want. You can just get all the way into your stomach.
You know what's crazy? So when they do transvaginal ultrasounds, which is something that I have to get every now and then to make sure I don't have ovarian cancer, my ovaries look good. So you can see everything, right? It's just like they do an ultrasound over your stomach if you're pregnant, right? You can see the baby and where it is and everything. But this one is inside of you, right?
Right.
So I wouldn't say they're fun, but they're always interesting to watch because they do put it on the screen.
Right.
So you can see as it's going. And I always thought my uterus would be bigger. But it's just like this big.
Yeah, of course. How big do you think it is? Look at your body size.
Well, I just always thought it would be bigger. Like she told me actual inches one time, and because I've never had children, it obviously has never stretched or anything. So it's not as big as you'd think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
noted.
It's just cute. I guess I always
You
thought
have
it was
a real
bigger.
cute. Will you keep it?
My uterus?
Yeah, like maybe we can dry it and make it into a keychain or something.
No, I don't. I don't have to get rid of it. Dry
that's
it and
right.
Make it into a keychain.
Yeah, something cool like a necklace.
Yeah,
I'd wear it.
Or dry
I'll
it.
wear your uterine necklace.
Oh, that's sweet, babe.
People will be like, "Oh man, where'd you get that from the desert?" I'm like, kind of
I got inside of her. It's not
from the
big.
desert of her womb.
Okay, let's keep it PG.
Oh man.
All right, let's hit the next question, Brantley. Brancherdamus.
Oh, there we go.
Do you think you'll do a podcast with Matt about it? Might help new different people. Yeah.
Here we are.
We've talked about it for quite some time. It was just kind of whenever you were going to make your business known to the rest of everyone else. We knew we'd talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about everything.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
And it's good because this might reach other people that aren't.
Yeah, not
following
only
me.
that, like, I mean, I know most of my audience doesn't have the uterus
Sure.
per se, but they tend to hang out with people who do.
Yes, that is
So,
true.
like, how about
Yeah.
your ladies, man?
How about your ladies?
Yeah, be aware and, like, help your ladies fucking live a better life.
Absolutely.
Ooh, are you doing nipple sparing? Because this was something Rob and I talked about when we were out in the desert
Okay.
with Dan, and neither of us know enough. I was under the impression that you were keeping your nipples just because I felt like if you weren't, you'd have said something.
That's correct. Yes,
Sick.
I would have. So yes, they're able to do a nipple sparing mastectomy on me because I do not have cancer. If you already do have breast cancer, and I'm sure this is dependent on the type and the spread and et cetera, but typically they'll take the nipples with the mastectomy as well. Since I'm leaving the nipples, that does leave like a very, 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 very small chance.
Okay, that was going to be
cancer.
my following question because there's still some breast tissue.
Right. It's very, very, very small. So, I mean, it would be less than your average ladies. Which,
Now, when they do the surgery, do they remove the nipple and then stitch it back on?
no, the nipple will not be touched.
Detached.
As far as I know, detached. As far as I know.
Just the backside cleaned off.
Yeah, no, the nipple will not be detached.
Keep the
Someone would
nerves.
have mentioned that to me.
Yeah, I mean, if it's nipple sparing, I mean, I imagine it's not just for looks. I
Right.
imagine you could still kind
So-
of enjoy them.
Yes. So, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be cut under boob, and basically the skin will be flipped up. They will, I imagine, just like a very tiny spoon. They will scoop out my breast
like
tissue.
like a spork. You'd probably want something scrapey.
Oh, don't say scrapey.
You don't think scrape? You're gonna get in there. Have you never
But like,
cleaned
you know,
an animal?
there's not a lot of breast tissue, so I imagine it'll be a very
What?
small spoon. That
Do you
they
think
will
they
scoop
change
me
spoon
out.
besides on the size of tits?
Probably, yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Just come in there with this big like
So they
cauldron
will.
spoon,
Oh, weird. Ugh.
shovel them out.
I can't even imagine having boobs that big. So anyway, they will cut me underneath, flip me up, scoop out all the breast tissue, and then if everything looks good, my implants will go in the day of. They obviously want to make sure everything looks good with the nipple, like there's still blood flow to the
Yep.
nipple, because that's
Heck
important.
yeah, it is.
Because we don't want them to die.
No, that'd be super lame.
Yeah, I'm really not interested in that.
Zombo
So,
nipples are real low on my type of nipples list.
wait, what type?
Zombos.
Oh, Zombo nips.
Zombo nips uncool. No one's into the rotting nip skin,
Oh, well,
right?
if that happens, then we deal
Call
with
us
it.
in.
Yeah, so fingers crossed, nipples should be just fine. I will keep you guys posted on the
Post
nipples,
nips.
which is a crazy thing to say. I never thought I would say that to the
That's
world,
true.
but I will keep you posted on my nipples. Send your best thoughts.
Yeah, we will continue to learn. Will your surgery be covered by insurance? Insurance has been a bit of a fucking disaster, eh?
I appreciate Brant making these big because before he was making them, before they were just regular size, I'm like squinting.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I should probably zoom in on these.
Yeah. Oh, Bonnie's blind, by the way. Will your surgery be covered by insurance? Part of it will be. I knew that I was going to schedule my insurance. I knew that I was going to schedule my surgery for 2021. So I actually bought a better insurance
Got 'em.
going into the year. So,
Did you have to tell them you were doing this? Like ahead of time? Or you're like, oh no, what a weird surprise.
I sent them my new insurance card.
No, that's true, yeah.
But yeah, like 50 extra bucks a month will end up saving me a couple $1,000s. So it's absolutely worth it. Nothing is free, but
your insurance also has been shitty with like covering mammograms or if you, any other stuff you need to get looked at.
Yeah, I found out that my insurance only covers 1 mammogram a year. So,
I just don't understand why preventative medicine is so fucked in this country. Why do we just have to wait for people to get shitty and sick before they're allowed to address anything?
A lot more money in treating them than curing
Fuck, I
them
know,
before.
man, but like, I mean, it's also
truth.
the problem that if you open the floodgates to people to try to like, hi, I'd like to have this looked at, it just goes fucking batshit crazy.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't either. But people,
These people don't like going to the doctor. Well, I mean, I don't know. But yeah,
people do like being sick.
Yeah, that was a bummer to find out. I mean, I can afford it, so it's fine.
Right, but it's still fucked. It's fucked. We pay a
fucked.
shit ton for insurance, man. Especially as entrepreneurs and doing our own thing. Like, we pay a fuckload for insurance.
Yeah, I pay just under $400 a month.
Yeah, I pay almost $1,000.
Why?
Well, because apparently they're used to me having parts cut off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
They're like, Jesus Christ, this kid's expensive.
oof.
It's like driving a fancier car now.
They're like, so
it's like
he gets
the
an
insurance
average-
on a Lamborghini.
Right.
Because my body value is higher.
Your body
just
value,
because
yeah.
I have this metal parts in me, I
Yeah,
guess.
they're like, well, he gets an average of 1 surgery a year.
Well,
Right.
you're part robot now, so
Right,
you obviously
USB
have more
charger,
maintenance for
everything's
robot
gonna be-
parts.
Between the two of us, we are going to have quite a few fake parts.
Fuck yeah. I love it. Cyborgs.
Next question.
Heck yeah, we are.
We could bitch about insurance all day, but
No, right. I mean,
Move
that's
on.
not it's revolutionary talk.
I just want to note that all these questions are placed near your boobs, so we're really on brand with everything that's going on right now.
well, I want to keep the
Do you think or
tension where it
worry?
needs to be.
Do you think or worry about having children because of your ovaries? I guess we can cover that.
So kids have never been a thing that's interested in me. I've never really, we've talked about this on a podcast before, but yeah, I've never really had that really strong like maternal urge, and procreation has just never been on my radar. This is absolutely a thing that solidifies my choice in not having children because that's how this is passed on. So it's a 50-50 chance they have it.
Not into that.
No, I'm super not into that.
No,
like
me
the
neither.
way I look at
Me
this
neither, man.
is, this ends with me. God, imagine if everyone got tested and those people just didn't procreate and then you could just genetically get rid of it.
How dare you?
I don't know. But whatever. Yeah, I'm not having kids. I've never wanted kids. And
I mean, how many generations do you think it would take us to really fuck something up? If we just made like a gentleman's agreement as a
gentlemen's agreement.
like I'm not saying you have to.
How long did it take us to fuck up dogs?
Quicker than we've changed.
For sure.
So
I mean, think about how much we've forced evolution in dogs versus how much we've changed in the last 200,000 years.
yeah,
They also don't have to be.
I was just saying if we wanted
pregnant
to like
as long.
force it to happen.
Right. And it does happen quicker, right? Dogs' life cycle's a lot quicker than our life cycle.
That's
but,
true. Okay.
But if we immediately had a generation that didn't pass any genes on, cancer-wise, and then that one did the same, I mean, does it exponentially decrease? I'm not fucking smart enough.
I don't know. This would be a good question for my sister. But speaking of her, this was a decision for her. She wanted to make sure she was negative before she went about having children.
Yeah, that's true, right?
Yeah.
Good for her. Because, I mean, she's got great kids.
Yeah. And I mean, if I wanted kids, I suppose it would be a lot more stressful in other ways.
We could adopt or
But-
something like that.
But yeah, it's never been a thing I wanted. So it were, yeah. It was,
And luckily for you, you have a partner that's also not interested.
yes. Yes.
I fully plan to get my my lower bit snipped off later this year, I think is what they call it.
Lower bits. Yep.
Just removed.
Snippity snip.
Don't need those things. Built for more speed, we get rid of those old balls.
Oh man, just totally smooth down there.
Yeah,
Okay.
everyone I know that's not how vasectomies work, but She's
I'm
not.
thinking
She's
instead of-
not hanging out with a dum dum
I'm
here.
thinking instead of snipping, we just get rid of it all.
The whole dick and everything.
No, keep that.
Okay.
Get a robo penis, just like Jerry in that episode.
Oh man,
You know, There you go.
it's a
Man,
great episode. Beth starts flipping through the catalog.
Yeah,
if,
she's like,
if
wait,
I
She's
could
like,
swap,
"Whoa,
like,
wait
if
a
I could
second."
right now, if I could open up a catalog and like have a robot dick installed, but I have to lose my dick, do I still get feeling and sensation from the robot dick?
if yes, then yeah, of
Fuck yeah.
course.
Sure.
We'd upgrade
I
this
have
thing.
a better performing dick.
Yeah,
and, like,
why wouldn't
it's
I
less
upgrade?
work
It's
for
not
me.
like I'm-
Like, okay,
Yeah, I feel like
Unnatural. Fuck you.
no, I feel
like,
like most
wait, so I
guys
can,
would
like-
choose that.
just like a built-in dick vibrator. You're like, oh, this is great. I can do everything.
Yo, it's probably
That a dildo
pretty
can.
good that we haven't, as a species, figured out how to like adorn our dicks well. Because look what we do to vehicles.
Adorn them,
This could get weird.
polished,
Vinyl wrap it.
polished, and graphics and shit. Yeah.
Slap some wheels on it.
So yeah, the children thing, easy decision for me.
Yeah,
Never
neither
been
of
on
us
my
are
radar.
interested.
It's all good there.
How long have you been considering the double mastectomy?
Since I was diagnosed.
So 7 years.
7 years ago. Yeah. I knew that was the route I was always going to go since that decreases my risk the most.
I mean, yo, I even remember like right when we first started kind of like hanging out, you had brought this up pretty early on to me as kind of this is a thing that we're going to have to go through. If you're not cool with that now, you should probably know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It amazes me, right? Because like I just can't imagine that have been a hurdle that I'd have been like, oh, no thanks, cancer girl.
Yeah.
Has that been a deal breaker?
I don't know about a deal breaker, but I think it's been a challenging thing
Not
for
that you-
partners to hear in the past.
Like, which part of it? The part that you don't want to have kids, or the part that
Oh, yeah, actually, the kids thing. I remember a relationship that was significantly compromised because that was part of his life plan and not mine.
right on though?
But also, I mean, that's a conversation that you should have up front.
And
Which
he's totally valid for if
Right.
that's what he wants.
Yeah, of course. I don't expect everyone to want the same things I
Yeah,
do.
imagine
but
if you were
let's-
trying to date Spencer. That kid's
let's-
fucking wants 700 of them.
Oh my God, he does.
Because they're all drowning in day tears.
Yeah, so it's been a challenging thing for partners to hear in the past. I mean, I guess some have taken it better than others. Whatever, it doesn't matter now. But I still feel like it's a thing that should come out earlier on in the relationship. Be like, yo, if we're going to get serious, listen, this is a thing.
Right. Because then, like, I mean, it'd be really weird, like, if right now,
Yeah, it'd be
You know,
very strange for me to tell you
if
2
you're like,
years
by
in.
the way,
I feel like a lot of that goes away with like older relationships though, like or relationships between more mature adults.
Sure.
Like that conversation happens earlier. Like I know that's like a conversation with anyone I would have dated in college or something. That never would have, entered the conversation or something like that. But I feel like being more adults or something like that, like it kind of
it's
does
kind
come
of
up because
kind of at this point, like if you're dating
and
at fucking 38,
yeah,
if you're dating at 38, there's a little bit of like, I'd like to hang out with you as much as possible.
yeah, it's
And also,
it's
we're
not this
not-
weird. It's like it's not this weird stage. There's a lot less bullshit and like I guess the foreplay of the relationship where you're kind of just like, oh, I kind of like
No.
you and stuff. It's just like, yo, get here, like just move in with me right now. And if it doesn't work, then whatever. Like I don't know. Like
very,
that's
very
about
true.
it. Like that's just like it's not like we use the word fast, but I don't think it's fast. I think it's just, hey, I don't want to deal with bullshit. Like let's figure out if this works or not. So
Yeah, I think starting a relationship in your mid 30s is very, very different than in your mid 20s.
Yeah.
Neither of you are interested in wasting each other's time. Hopefully, both of you
No.
are super into being honest with each other, and both of
hopefully
you are
have your
aware.
shit together at this point.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've been doing a thing you like.
Yeah, and both of you are aware that you've had pasts. You've had past relationships.
Hold on.
You are coming into this relationship with shit that's happened to you. And I think if you're, mature and honest about it all, these conversations absolutely should happen, and probably sooner rather than later is better.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of being open with your partner, right? Like, I don't understand kind of holding any real boundaries because,
Right.
man, I'd be so bummed out. Like, if not that you didn't tell me, like, yo, what the fuck didn't you tell me? But more like, Yo, there's been a thing that you've been stressed about for the last fucking 2 years and you just haven't shared it with me at all? Like,
Yeah.
what was the worst thing that you thought I would do is like, fuck this. You got cancer in your blood. I'm out of here.
In your blood. Yeah. It'd be super, super weird to have not told you after 2 years.
I would be very curious then about you.
Yeah. Well, obviously, because then you're like, well, what else?
I think that's been the biggest thing. One of the bigger things about like hanging out with you guys is like, when I'm stressed about something between another person, just immediately addressing it rather than fucking dealing with it and being like stressed about it and like not asking. Like,
for
it's
sure.
like, why wouldn't you just?
Because most of the time, it's never as bad as you think.
You know what will get rid of that stress is asking the person the questions. So
that's all you have to do.
Or just having the conversation. So it's just like, communicating. This is how you do it.
Yeah, it's like I don't care about awkward anymore. Like I just don't give a shit.
It's helpful.
It has been for me.
Also, not giving a shit helps a lot because then you're just like.
Well, it's being able to recognize what's truly important and letting the other shit go.
Yep.
Yes.
Moving on.
Will you go for implants or just have the mastectomy with, I think we covered this already, but let's talk about them taters you getting. We haven't even started having any appointments for this as I will be involved.
This is the opposite of the dick thing for Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, I am getting implants, and there are a couple options that you can do with the whole reconstructive process. They do have options where you can take fatty tissue from other places in the body and reconstruct the breast that way. I believe I will be getting some fatty cadaver tissue, or maybe it won't be fatty, but some cadaver tissue to
stuff them?
Get the right shape, I guess. But there won't be any breast tissue left. So
you need some actual tissue, not just implant.
Yes.
Okay.
That is what they're doing for me. So.
Man, do we get to pick the dead person? Can we save money if we go grave robbing?
Probably.
Sure do. We'll bring our own.
If we go grave robbing, it's like casual like we do it all the time.
We'll find a grave. We'll rob it. Whatever.
Graves everywhere.
I got a shovel in the truck.
How pumped were you got to shovel this morning?
I got a snow shovel. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's stoked. So yes, I will go for implants.
How big are you going?
Well, this kind of gets into another question that will pop up later, but I guess I can just dive into it now.
Yeah, we'll just skip it then.
So for reconstruction from a mastectomy and getting implants, it's a little bit different than your normal breast augmentation, right? There's more trauma to the tissue, so recovery is usually a little bit longer, and there's no space left between the muscle and the skin because that's the tissue that they're taking away, right? So
you got a pocket.
Yes, basically. That I believe, that's what they call it, actually. So
nice.
I'm getting implants the day of, and I'm choosing to go about the same size that I currently am. If I wanted to go much bigger than I currently am, I would have to do expanders. And what expanders are, because a lot of people don't know about this because this is a mastectomy.
Sounds fucking crazy to me,
mastectomy specific thing.
Oh, do you not have that normally? Like if you get normal augmentation, it never ever is a thing? Not if you just want to go circus tits or something?
I guess I don't know about circus tits, but typically they're not. It's just a mastectomy thing. So it's a bag, basically. It's like a balloon that is filled with saline once or twice a month, maybe just once a month. Filled with saline once a month. You have a port, so they essentially fill you up from the outside to create space in between the muscle and the skin to create room for this implant that you'll be getting in the future. So depending on how large you want to go, the expanders stay in for 3 to 6 months. And then once you are expanded to the appropriate size, you have another surgery. The expanders are taken out and the implants are put in. So expanders would require another surgery, and they also recommend that you have low activity level while the expanders are in because they're fairly delicate and can pop easily, which is super cool.
Nope.
And that would require, so if they're in for 3 to 6 months, basically that looks like 4 to 7 months of low activity.
No, it seems so lame.
And I talked to the doctor about this. I held an expander in my hand. We talked about it because I'd kind of heard all these horror stories from expanders or about expanders. And I was like, what? I just need to ask just so I'm clear on what these are and what that looks like. And, the doctor took me through it all. And I'm like, I'm not interested in that.
No, that seems super lame. That seems...
I've never had large breasts.
No, but
so I'm not going to mind waking up with small breasts because that's what I've been living with for 33 years.
We don't really care if they're gone anyway.
And I would rather take 8 weeks now, 6 to 8 weeks now of low activity, whatever. And then if I really want them larger in the future, I got to swap them out for a bigger pair in the future.
No big deal. And maybe not have to do expanders.
And that would be even less downtime. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because,
the expanders thing is the gnarly part. It's like trying to jump a grade.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really what it is.
Can't just jump a grade.
So I'm not doing those. So yes, I'm getting implants. No, I will not be much, if any, bigger than I am now. I'm going to tell them to give me the biggest size possible.
Fill them up. Will you keep the square shape that we've discussed?
I don't know if we even discussed that on this one. Was it this one?
I don't think so.
Rats.
Someone called her square tits. Sorry, we're not going to fill you in again.
Oh, Lego tits. Thank you, internet. But
they are nice.
But there's something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, so I don't know what size exactly I'll be at, and they told me that in order to figure out what implant size I'll need, they're going to weigh my breast tissue.
All right.
How that's going to happen, I don't know.
You got a ton of it. They have a very fine scale. Think about if they're selling cocaine, you got to go down to the milligram, microgram.
Yeah, so I don't know.
It's
if
not just kilos.
I don't know if
it's not I don't know, half a kilo is enough. Jam it in there.
I'll probably just step on a scale and you'll hold them up, and then we'll weigh me again when you let go. That works. Yeah, so they have to. I have yet to determine what size I'm going to be getting. People are like, how many cc's? I'm like, I don't know, 2.
Are you excited about it?
Yeah.
Even though they're going to be the same.
Yeah, because it's kind of exciting because they're new.
All right.
And they'll look different.
They're new and fresh.
Look different. So it's kind of like I've been joking online when I talk about it because I'm calling these my danger titties. Mm-hmm. And I get a new pair that is significantly less dangerous.
And safety.
Yeah. These have been great, but
those 007 titters got to get off there. You got to get those dangerous spies out of here.
They got to go. All right.
What do you ask for at the OBGYN? I have several family members with breast cancer.
Absolutely. So all you need to tell them is that you would like to be tested for BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene. And they should be able to refer you to a genetic testing portion of your hospital where they can do a blood test or I think even a mouth swab
no shit.
to do the testing. Yeah. And I mean, this is super routine for them, guys. This protocol is in place for a reason because there are lots of women out there dealing with this. So you're not going to throw them off by asking for it. They'll probably applaud you for being responsible. Yeah, that's all you need to ask for. And if you end up being positive, then you'll get set up with a breast doctor who will schedule and coordinate your chest MRIs and mammograms. And you'll essentially work with at least 2 doctors, a breast doctor and your OBGYN, or probably someone in the
oncology?
Yes, oncology. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. In the oncology part of your hospital.
Now, then also a plastic surgeon?
Once you decide,
if you're doing the augmentation.
Once you decide that you want to take measures to do your preventative surgeries, mm-hmm. then they can make recommendations for a plastic surgeon. So, because my surgery, it is with 2 doctors.
Right. And so everything for your surgery fits under your insurance, right? Like your reconstruction and everything.
Yes. Correct. Okay. So there'll be a doctor that does the actual mastectomy, and then my plastic surgeon will come in and do the implants reconstruction. It's all happening at a plastic surgery place. But yes, I had to make sure that my insurance was covered by that portion and the other portion, which is why it took so long. But yeah.
All right, I have another science question.
Oh, good. Okay.
Because you know about boobs. Mm. All right, so.
Enough.
All right. So they're going to remove your breast tissue.
Yes.
Right. Is that different than like fat tissue in and around the breast? So here's where I'm going with that. If you gain weight, your boobs get bigger.
Yeah. Fat. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So will your boobs ever naturally get bigger again? Like if you put on a bunch of weight?
I don't know.
So does the breast tissue expand or does more of it show up? Does more fat show up in the boobs? Or
Yes.
does the fat cells that are there get bigger? Because if it's just the fat cell or the breast tissue itself grows or shrinks.
So I don't think they can get bigger if I gain weight.
Okay, so
Because the fat cells are removed.
So they're gone. Got
yes. Yes. Yeah.
Right,
So they'll be
that all
like
makes sense
taking the mammary glands and all that stuff, and the fat and all that will go.
Gotcha. So you could never essentially get big boobs again.
I'm pretty sure that's correct.
So by that way, if you have if you get liposuction or get fat removed, does it not grow back?
I don't know.
Because could I get like my love handles removed and then I don't ever have to stress about them again?
I don't know. I don't know
sick.
if that's as thorough as like actually opening it up.
Well, they got to get a spoon.
Yeah, well, tiny
Smaller
spoon.
Get rid of them love handles.
Yeah,
Bro,
I-
I'm trying, man.
I don't.
Gotta have some
I'm
sort of-
not
It's the
sure.
lightest I've weighed in my life.
I'm really not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure I
Okay.
will not be able to gain boob weight.
All right. I feel like I've had two pretty interesting questions that we didn't have answers for. They're not dumb science questions yet. So I'm pretty proud
I
of
think that
myself.
was a really valid question because I'm not actually sure either. But that
Yeah.
explanation that you gave sounds pretty accurate. So, yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't know.
One day, Brand will just start fact checking as we're talking.
For sure.
Jesus Christ.
I got this a lot.
This is
actually.
so strange to me, though. All right. So who is more worried about the situation, you or Matt, and also how long to recover?
They say about 8 weeks, so we'll see.
I don't know. Is it shitty that I'm not worried about the situation at all? Like, I don't have any stress regarding it whatsoever.
No, I don't think it's shitty. I mean, you're an awesome partner. You love me. You want what's best for me. You support my decisions.
It's
Yeah.
going to come with whatever's going to come with it.
I mean, you got people reaching out, like asking if you were cool.
Yo, right. Like, yeah, I'm fucking fine, man. She's not dying. we're fixing it. We're eliminating future stress.
Right.
Like this is the best fucking case scenario is to be like, you're essentially getting the opportunity to go back in time and kill Hitler's mom.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
why risk having Hitler around if we could just kill his mom?
Right. Right. Yeah. So I would be more worried as it's my body, which seems like a reasonable answer.
My only concerns are about you. Like I don't have a feeling about how does Matt feel about Bonnie having BRCA1 gene.
What if these boobs are like this?
Well, I mean, I guess depending on what chemical I've decided to ingest that day, they may just get all over the place anyway. We'll just get some Picasso tits swinging around that body. We'll fucking lock them down
tits.
sometime.
What's worse, Picasso or Lego tits?
Well, Picasso did a lot of cubism too, so you might
So it
double
might
down.
all, yeah, right.
Or they
Might
could be
just-
blue.
Hopefully not. Yeah, guys, Matt's fine. He's an amazing partner, very supportive.
Nice.
He'll be just fine.
Yeah, I'm such an amazing partner.
Don't
that
send
I'm
him
fully
any.
aware of how bad I am playing nurse.
Oh yeah.
That we're having Bonnie's best friend coming down to take care of her.
Yeah, and it's not like either of us get PTO, right? Like life still has to go on.
Yeah, our shit never
businesses
stops.
still have to operate, right? So Matt doesn't just get to drop everything and hang out with me in bed and watch movies. Like,
No, I already the only way it works for me is to eliminate bullshit distractions in my life anyway, so that I don't fuck things up.
right. And Matt told me, he's like, so I don't mean to sound like a dick, but I make a terrible nurse. Can Tyler come stay? I'm like, yeah, that's great. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not offended by that. I appreciate him.
Yo, that's honesty.
I appreciate him recognizing that and telling me, and then we have a solution.
I
right?
love you so much. I don't want to be a bad nurse for you. And I'm telling you, it's not Matt doesn't want to help.
Yeah.
I just will be fucking bad at it. Like if you
Yeah,
hired me
and-
right now to be a fucking electric engineer, you've chosen poorly. This isn't the job for me, no matter how good I'd like to do it.
Yeah, and that doesn't offend me or bum me out
Or
I'm
surprise
not like,
you.
oh, he doesn't love me. Like, come on.
Plus you get to hang out with fucking Tyler.
Plus, I get my friend in town for a week, and she's gonna watch movies with me and wash my hair and keep Ollie from making biscuits on my tits.
That's the real danger.
For
What
sure.
if he bust one of those
Ollie
sweet new
biscuit
gals?
This is kind of along the same lines.
I struggle with guilt. Experience that regarding Matt at all. You.
I don't feel guilty about my genes.
I mean, maybe
Because
look, right?
there's
Like,
nothing I can do about that.
So what if, I mean, I get it. Like, let's look at different scenarios, right? Let's say that you and I have been together for 10 years,
Okay.
right? And what we've been wanting to do is start a family.
Oh, okay, sure. If it's the family thing,
Yeah.
that would make it much more challenging. Yes.
Right. Or, say you're the main breadwinner in our household or whatever it is. And then now you're going to have to take fucking 6 months off of work because of something.
Sure. Yeah. There's so many different situations that it
We're
could be.
just not in any of those scenarios.
It just like if it's gonna happen to anyone, yo,
You're not wrong, man.
we're
fully
me
prepared to handle
are
it.
equipped for this.
We're mentally where we need to be. Spiritually, emotionally, all those type of things are fucking lined up.
We don't want
We
kids.
know where we want
Financially,
things to go.
Yeah. Everything is lined up for this to happen.
Yep. I mean, there's never a cool time to do this. There's never a cool time to deal with bullshit like this. But
No, but you can pick times that are better than others,
yeah,
I feel a little bad. I'll be a bit of a burden for maybe a week or two, but whatever.
I've been that way a long fucking time. I got helped a lot by a lot of people. So
Yeah, people being nice is what gets me.
don't I know it?
Yeah. So I'm very grateful that our situation is what it is and that we want the things we want out of life and that we have the careers we have because, yes, it could be much, much more complicated than it is.
It could be a lot more complicated. Like, I mean, fuck it. Even from all the things of like, I mean, luckily enough, we can afford it. Luckily enough, I mean, even with insurance, it's still a fucking pain in the ass. It's still going to be expensive. It's still going to be taxing. How had this impacted your everyday life? What can you do and what can't you do?
Yeah, so it doesn't really affect what I can and cannot do. Like I mentioned earlier, there is screening protocol, and that's the mammograms, chest MRIs, and transvaginal ultrasounds that I have to do on a regular basis. So that's kind of lame because I've always got medical bills I'm paying, which is super dumb. Maybe you know a thing or two about that.
I'm not a big fan.
No, they just kind of always show up, which is lame. But as far as physically, no, it doesn't impact anything I can.
I mean, what do you think you spent this year on preventative, medicine for this?
I wouldn't say tens of thousands of dollars.
I mean, do you think
but
10 grand?
No, I'd say maybe over 5 though. Yeah.
I mean, that's considerable, man.
Especially when insurance stops covering things, like because I was
Right.
only covered, one mammogram, and I had 3 this year because I had some scares.
fucking $5,000's fucking serious.
MRIs are the most expensive thing that I have to do.
I mean, if you were to consider like what average income is,
Yeah.
that's fuck, man, that sucks. And you have good
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah. I have better insurance now, so
Sure,
we'll see
but-
about this year. Yeah, so physically I can do everything. I'm just like a normal girl.
Can you dunk?
No.
Well, there
I
you
don't
go.
think
There's
that's
another thing.
But I don't think that's because of my danger boobs.
How fast a swimmer are you?
I'm not a good swimmer.
See? Well, we have another question. All right.
Oh yeah, there's more. Okay, so
I tested positive for BRCA1. Not sure what doctor to go to for exams and prevention. Where did you start?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on this earlier, but I would contact your OBGYN. That should be the easiest person for you to contact rather than just diving into, Jesus, I keep blanking on that word, cancer. Oncologist.
Yep.
Yeah, rather than going directly to an oncologist. So your OBGYN should be able to set up this screening protocol for you. They should be able to set you up with a doctor for imaging for the transvaginal ultrasound, and they should also be able to set you up with the breast doctor. The breast doctor will be able to make your appointments for your chest MRIs and your mammograms. It's a lot. You're going to see a lot of doctors and a lot of nurses, and if you see the same one twice, you're lucky.
What a fucking bummer.
Yeah.
What a fucking bummer, man. Still a boss ass bitch forever. And 2, what are you most worried about with the procedures, etc.?
What I'm most worried about, I mean, obviously I don't have a lot of experience with
Surgery.
anesthesia and surgery and going under and
Anesthesia's
stuff.
super easy.
So it's true.
You just fucking hang
And-
out.
and-
Enjoy that shit.
And it was easy when it happened to me. 'Cause, like I said, the only other experience I have is with
All
my
right.
wisdom
Let me-
teeth.
I'll walk you through
And-
surgery. Let's talk about it. Hit me with any questions you have about your day of surgery.
Well, I have a pretty good idea of what it looks like. I was also there when both my parents had their surgeries
All right.
for their cancers.
You just don't know what it is.
Just weird, man. The idea of going
Getting
under,
turned off.
getting turned off, and then turned back on. Right?
It's
That's
also kind of cool.
It's crazy. And it's happened to me, and I was just fine. I didn't have any problems with the anesthesia.
You don't get nauseous, anything like that coming out?
I was crying a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
But-
yeah. But that's not a fucking shock, especially with
Yeah.
everything else we've experienced, right? Like the brain gets a
Right.
little fucking wacky. Emotions get a little crossed.
Yeah, I was like asking for my wisdom teeth, asking if I could have them, and I was crying. And
I
they're
got-
like, they wouldn't let me have them.
I got really unpleasant with a nurse. When I came,
Coming out?
yeah, I
Okay.
came out of surgery. My hand wasn't working. Yeah, so I came out of one of my surgeries and my fucking hand wouldn't work. Like I could barely make a fist more than that. And like I
Yo.
just couldn't feel anything. Like I couldn't hold my cell phone. Like I couldn't physically keep it from falling out of my hands.
I'd be fucking stressed.
That was like 4 days.
Yo.
I was not fucking cool to everyone who came in the room and asked me what was going on. They're like,
your
how's
right hand?
everything? Yeah, in my right hand. Yeah, how's everything? I was like, really fucking good, other than my goddamn hand doesn't work.
So what are we doing about that?
Yeah, I was like, my knee, that's another fucking story, but my goddamn hand doesn't work. And so everyone that came in, I was like, I just would love someone to explain this to me, because it's like I came in for a tire to get my tire changed, and then you said, the back seat's all fucked up now.
Like, excuse me, what?
Why?
Yo.
I was really shitty to a lot of people.
I would have been too.
And
I definitely would
it
have
came
been.
back. It just naturally fucking came back. I assume what happened, and this was like early in my surgery round 2. So I assume when they anesthesia on the table, they have their arms flat out like this, right? And so what I bet happened is they just had me flat.
For too long.
Yeah, and it just shut off. It just killed that fucking nerve for the 4.5 hours I was under for that surgery. And so from then on, anytime I had surgery, I had them pillow me up,
Yeah.
and I was fine.
I think mine's supposed to be like 2.5.
I'd be golden.
But I mean, the other thing that's
You got to get some Versed in you.
for sure.
We'll push that as hard as we can once we get to the hospital.
The other thing that could be concerning is they open me up and there's already cancer there, which
Well,
would
that's
be
also
super lame.
best fucking
But-
case scenario then.
But I'll have tons of imaging beforehand. I actually have my next ultrasound, breast ultrasound on the 8th. So there'll be plenty of imaging before surgery, so they'll have a good idea of what they're getting into before they open me up.
But I mean, at least the good perspective on that, right, is if they do open you up and they see it. Like, there's no more. You'd always want to catch it as soon as you could, right?
Of course, yeah.
So
but
this is the earliest possibly that you could have caught it.
oh, for sure,
And
for
so
sure.
like fucking right on. And they're in there.
Yeah, but that wouldn't necessarily mean that they take it.
Sure.
Because
but they
sometimes things are too big and they want
but
to
then we go,
chemo it.
yeah. But then
But-
it may, at least we're on a process.
But I'm having all this imaging done a month before.
Right.
So,
And you've never had any issues either.
right. I've had biopsies before, but they've all been benign.
How does this affect the way you think of yourself? Typically, women struggle with femininity dysphoria. Femininity dysphoria.
So I imagine this question would be if I wasn't getting reconstructive surgery.
Yeah, I think it would apply a bit more that
Right,
way,
right,
right?
right.
Like, yeah.
Right. So it doesn't because I'm getting reconstructive.
Not only that, I think it would play into the fact like chemo and everything. So like if you had double mastectomy and then lost all of your hair, that's heavy.
That's really, really, really heavy.
Like, I mean,
Which is why I'm doing this preventatively.
yeah, I mean, that changes a lot, right?
That changes a lot. And my brain doesn't even like thinking about that.
No, same.
So yeah, if things were different, I'm sure I would struggle with that. I'm sure I would. And I am super sorry to the women out there that have and do.
Yeah, that's tough, man. And yeah, feel free to talk to someone about that because it is a fucking thing. Like that's a lot. Like that's a who the person is that you see in the mirror thing. Like that's more than a shirt. And then it not growing naturally. Like you'd feel so alien.
Right.
And not only that, like, you look like a cancer person.
Right.
And that fucking sucks. There's that treated funny, that stigma. Like there's no way to. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry for anyone who's had to deal with that or struggle through it. I'm really, really sorry. But you should not have this issue.
Should not have this issue. Like I said, this is me taking control and hopefully avoiding that in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're doing it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so yeah.
So you mentioned expanders in your other answer. What in the world are expanders? We covered all that.
We did cover that. We can probably skip this
we'll
one
just skip
because
that one.
I feel like I did a good job
you
explaining.
gave a lot of that.
Yeah.
So.
This is something you and I talk about quite a bit when it comes to what do you do when your doctor won't do genetic testing on you and you're 35?
Until you're 35.
Find a new fucking doctor.
Find a new fucking
These motherfuckers work for
doctor.
you.
Oh,
Like-
this one made me so mad.
Dude, I feel the same way. It's no different than the people that hit me up about total knee replacement because they're astonished, that I got it done at the age I'm at. And then like, my knee's really bad and my doctor won't let me do it until I'm almost 50, which is like 12 years. Because either A, you're not in as bad as pain as I am. But I don't fucking know. But if you are, how fucking dare you not help someone? Like, what the fuck, man? Like,
No, and there's no reason for them to say this. So they highly recommend that if you're interested in reducing your chances as much as possible, that you have the mastectomy before you're 35. So to not even test you until then is fucking absurd.
Yeah,
I
your
talked to a
doctor's
girl.
shit.
I talked to a girl who had her double mastectomy at 23.
Right.
There's no fucking reason they should be waiting to test you until you're 35. So that is bullshit. Find a new doctor, find an advocate, find someone that's on your fucking side that will give you the test.
Because there is.
Because there is.
There's somebody out there who wants to do this work, who wants to help people, who wants to fucking protect those.
And like Matt said, doctors are there to serve us. So
their fucking job.
Let's not act like we have to
Right, they're
abide by every
it's
single
not a
little
fucking gift
bullshit.
when we go in. They're not assigned to us. You fucking choose your doctor.
Yeah. And for me, this is
Hospitals are
very,
businesses.
it's been super, super eye-opening for me. Like no one is going to give a shit about my health unless I give a shit about my health. So be your best advocate. Okay. Like no one is going to schedule these appointments for you. No one is going to make these calls for you. Like you have to be on top of your shit. No one is going to care about your health more than you. And I'm super sorry whoever asked this question has to deal with that fucking doctor.
But change quicker.
Change. Change immediately.
My sister tested negative for the gene and told me since she was negative, I would be too. But I think we've learned something other than that.
Yes, this is incorrect. So go ahead and get tested also. Because like I said, with my own experience, my older sister, she is 3 years older than me. She was negative and I was positive. So.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah, that's not how it works. I think that was actually the last question.
We'll find out shortly.
We'll find
Yeah,
out what's next on my camera. Yeah, there's no scroll button. So yeah, I got a ton more questions. A lot of them were duplicates. A lot of them were just sending me well wishes and positive vibes and stuff like that. And the question that was hardest for me to answer that I don't think I included on the screenshots, some guy asked, he's like, how can we support you? And like that night of announcing on my Instagram was like 4 hours of crying a little bit or like sobbing intensely because people were so goddamn nice. And I told Matt, I was like, man, I'm really good like at handling when, you know, strangers are shitty to me. But when strangers are nice to me, oh, my heart.
It's a lot, man.
My heart. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a really intense night.
Maybe how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? How do people support you?
Right. I was going to touch on that. So, man.
And I don't just mean the mechanics of it, right? Like we know how we feel about it because we make money and we have jobs and all that. But like, how does it feel that you've reached enough people doing what you do that supporting you through this is something they want to be part of?
It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy to me that I could get so much love and support from people that don't even know me or that haven't met me. That's nuts. And like I said in the beginning, like I don't want to be treated any differently. Like you're still going to get a fuck ton of lifting content. It's not all going to be about what's going on with my boobs. That'll be peppered in there, of course. But like I'm no different. This is me. This is who I've always been. It was interesting posting that because I felt like I was kind of introducing myself to you all for the first time. Like
you definitely opened a different door, right?
There's
like
one big thing I haven't told y'all.
There's definitely a different level of familiarity. Yeah. It's a word.
Yes,
people have said it.
And I feel like I'm fairly open and transparent on my page about my life, but that was kind of some next level shit. And
I mean, but you've talked about cancer. You've talked about your genetic stuff. You just haven't ever really talked about. Have you never ever spoke about that?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. Okay.
You didn't realize that.
No, because you and I talk so openly about it.
Course.
I just assume that.
Yeah. I've never mentioned my genetics on Instagram.
Oh, I guess even that, like, because but even like mentioning your mom's cancer or anything like that, you know, like saying that it runs in the family or that any of those type of things. I didn't know if you've mentioned that.
I probably have touched on my mom's health, but no.
Or not in relation to it being a genetic scare or something for you. No. Okay.
No. So it was everything that night. It wasn't just that, hey, guess what? I'm having this surgery. It was that I've known for 7 years and I haven't told y'all. So that's why I felt like I'm actually getting to share this final piece of me.
And look, I mean, why would it be a surprise? Like if these people are following you because you've built a following that gives a shit, right?
Oh, I know.
You know, but I mean, because look, we know people that build different types of followings.
Yes,
and depending on what it is you're trying to sell or what it or what your goal is of the thing is.
Yeah.
A lot of times how.
And it's true for both of us. Like we are our brand, right? We essentially want people to buy into us.
Yeah, because it's super easy to maintain.
Right. And also, you know, people are gonna be like, "Whoa, I haven't seen Bonnie bench in 8 weeks." Well, yeah, here's why. Yeah. You know,
she'll be belt squat. You should be just fine.
Yeah. So,
man, you get to rehab that thing at dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, man. That's why it's all the pink lights, you know.
There will be a lot of rehab content.
You're not a fan of the old pink ribbon.
Who is?
I don't know. Breast cancer fans?
Fans.
You know what I mean. Those who oppose breast cancer?
I did
The
get
opposition?
I did get one message, and I wish I could remember her exact wording, but she's like, breast cancer is always about save the boobs. And she's like, unless you're us, and we need these fucking danger titties off. I'm like, yeah, for sure. So that was definitely a different
It
message.
just sucks that they have to use save the boobs as the only way to get everyone involved.
And like, yo, sometimes these boobs don't need to be saved, man.
Right, but that's the only way to get us to pay attention.
Yeah, of course.
There's not any real good dick campaigns out there.
That we know of.
There's not a month with prostate cancer awareness with just like a brown ribbon.
What about the circumcision billboard coming back through St. Louis?
You know, man,
There we go.
I don't know how I feel about the whole circumcision thing. Like,
So
I think it's
weird.
really, really fucking strange that we do that. I think it's really weird that as a society we agree that genital mutilation's a pretty fucking okay thing just for the sake of like, well, it looks better.
And if that was reversed,
Oh, for sure.
if we mutilated female babies' genitalia the
Well,
second they were
we
born,
fucking go up in arms about any type of female genital mutilation.
of course. But
Meanwhile,
with men, it's okay.
yeah. Well, it
It's
looks better. It's a better look.
Super strange and
I mean,
backwards.
there's just
and like people
no
say it's
proof at
health
all.
related, and
It's
it's
not.
not.
It's just not fucking true.
It's religion.
Yes.
Streamlined.
Let's be real.
Are you cut or uncut?
Oh man, that got real personal. But no, yeah, I'm circumcised.
Okay.
Like I don't know. I feel like it's weird because like I always just I guess that was what I always thought was just default.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea. I remember not knowing that was a thing.
Oh, for sure.
Until
Because
I don't
you're
even
like,
know.
because you see
Yeah,
someone else
you
and you're
only
like,
know
yo,
your-
what the fuck? And you're like, oh, that's
so,
what dicks
dude,
look like.
only
As
know
a
your
kid,
parts.
like seeing, like I remember being in a locker room and just seeing like an old dude's dick, and it looked super fucking weird.
You're like, what's
and I'm
what's
like,
all that?
It just looked super weird, and I was like
Right.
really confused, and like I didn't understand what it was. I never asked about it because I didn't like this.
No,
fucking
of
weird.
course, right? But
So-
like, isn't that fucking really bizarre, right? That the natural way for our body to look is a shock at some point by the time you're like in fucking middle school. You're 13 before you know what dicks look like and you own one.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's just like
or later if you're a lady.
super interesting.
Yo, right.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Like I remember
That's a surprise,
like,
too.
I remember even being in middle school and like people mentioning a kid that had an unclipped hog.
Yeah, it was like
They're like,
almost,
oh yeah, Jason Rentz, he's got a fucking unclipped hog.
Yeah, it's a weird
Glad
thing
I could pull that name out of the fucking ether.
Of course. It's a weird thing that we do as a culture.
Also, getting it
But-
circumcised later in life is supposed to be the worst thing ever.
I would imagine.
Also,
so.
like, what type of fuck? It's got to have some trauma, right?
That's exactly what I was about to say.
It's got to have some trauma built into the system as a kid. Like,
whether or not your life is absolutely perfect as a child, you are still going to have that trauma.
Wait, like when it gets done to you as a baby, is that what
is
you're
there
saying?
any?
Yes.
Is there any way to correlate like circumcision in society with violence?
Oh, so you're saying like you're more violent if you're circumcised?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what the trauma is from it, but I believe that there's got to be some fucking type of trauma.
Well, if you truly
Oh, okay.
believe in like,
I feel like how would you remember though?
Well, that's the argument, right?
Okay.
but that doesn't mean.
It doesn't mean
it
exist.
changes
No,
the
no, no,
wiring
yeah,
of the
yeah.
system.
That's true.
Because if everything's developing at that
Do
point,
they just do it when you're awake?
fuck no.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
actually, I don't think they
'cause
put
you're-
you under.
Because you're a child.
I don't think they
So I don't
put
know.
you
How about the
under.
way the Orthodox Jews do it, where they were having issues with herpes and getting
yeah.
spread to kids because the way they do it, the best way possible is the priest puts their dick in their mouth.
Is that true though?
Super fucking true. Brent, look it up.
Okay. Yeah, that's a real fucking
I
bummer.
don't-
It's a
I don't even
strange thing
know
we do.
what-
Brant doesn't even want to look it up.
I'm supposed to search for this.
Rabbis giving kids herpes, Jewish circumcision.
Or just Jewish circumcision herpes, maybe.
Well, dick and mouth story.
I'm sure if you put in all those words, you'll
Yeah,
find,
something will
you'll
come up.
find
Just
what you
use a
wanna
mix, any
find.
mix of those words you feel comfortable with putting into your search engine.
Brant's poor search engine.
My Google search results are just a mess right now. So just
I mean, how do you feel now that you've shared? Like, I mean, do you feel some relief off your back or more open, or do you feel?
Not so much from this, but from sharing that night. Yeah.
yeah,
for sure.
not the podcast, right? We're
Sure.
recapping.
Yes. And then it's also kind of like, now everyone knows a very personal detail about you.
And you
so,
got to
like-
explain the story too, because you can't just now not talk about it.
Right. So like walking into the gym, like 3 people just ran up and gave me hugs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's a little weird, right? Because it's not like it's new to
Yeah.
you.
Right. People are
Like,
like,
what?
how are you? And I'm like,
What do you find?
I'm good. We were in Texas. We were busy this week.
Right. No,
like,
with the boobs thing.
yeah, like right. Because I'm not even thinking about that.
Of course.
But yeah, that's something I suppose have to deal with, in like Miami, because we'll have a big event.
Yeah. That'll be one of your big first public outings, if you will.
Public outings with people knowing. Yeah, for sure. So I am competing one more time before I have surgery. I'm competing at the hybrid showdown meet in Miami on February 21st. And then I think we're going to hang out in Miami for a couple extra days, hang out with friends, chill, get some content, and then come back. And then like 2 weeks later, I have my surgery. So yeah, there will be one large public outing where I'll probably have to, I guess, expect some people coming up to me. And
Are we allowed to take those ladies out in the sunshine
Mm-hmm.
one last time?
yeah.
Planning on it.
Yeah. So it'll kind of be like a going away party for them.
I'm
if you
down
will.
with it. I think we should definitely have a going away party for them titties.
I'm going to find out like what dates people are going to be in Miami and be like, yo, one night, this is the going away party.
Spread hate, always titty.
Spread hate, always titty. Yeah.
I could get behind that.
titty talk.
Titty talk.
Titty talk. Yeah, that's my deal.
And I mean, I think it's wild that it's 7 years to get through the being mad at yourself or bullshit of it.
Yeah, I think my feelings about it really kind of went in waves or changed, and yeah, I was super bummed to find out. Like, that's not a cool thing to find out.
No, it's super fucking scary.
It's super fucking scary.
I mean, it's
And
got to be similar to when you're a kid and like you find out, when you figure out you're going to die.
Sure. I'm not
And
sure
like,
when I realized
I
that was gonna
remember
happen,
being
but
stressed about it.
yeah, a very scary
And
unknown
then,
thing.
Yeah, and then you just got told that like, here's a thing.
But at the same time, it's not like hearing you have cancer.
No.
But at the same time, like it took me a while to get to this point because I think I was mad at the unfairness and scared and a lot of that, all the things right at first. But then at the same time, like it reminds you that this is very, very finite. Get to living. And I'm sure it's not the same type of get to living you feel when you are diagnosed, or maybe you are cancer free or whatever that feeling might be.
Yeah, but why would you need to wait for that?
But yo, it's still a pretty good fucking reminder. Right? And once I got to that point with it, I started being a lot less mad. I think most of my anger comes from the system itself and the whole hospital bullshit and insurance and all that, because it's always going to be frustrating, right?
Right. That's 80% of the fucking hassle. The actual surgery is so not a big deal. It's the bullshit.
Right. And like I said, there's no one to be mad at. My parents didn't know, whatever. It's just the hand I was dealt. So when I really think about it like that, fucking pitter patter, let's go. Like that memento mori.
I mean, was this any part of the catalyst for you to start your own, start working for yourself?
Yes. Oh yeah. Big time.
I mean, now that you're open and sharing a lot more of your motivations behind stuff, as you haven't shared this being part of it.
Yes, absolutely. That's a huge part of it. Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. I remember I found out, this would have been actually quite a large catalyst, for me leaving my job. I had a biopsy and I went to work whatever day it was that I was supposed to find out results. And I had a meeting with my manager's manager or something, my boss's boss, who knew what was going on.
Okay, so knew that you'd got a biopsy done.
Yes. Knew everything that was happening with me. And ended up just laying into me about something that I hadn't done correctly, right?
Something meaningless.
Something so fucking trivial. And I'm sitting here thinking, yo, I could have fucking cancer.
And you're working for Victoria's or Limited Brands.
Yeah. And they didn't ask me all day, like how I felt, how it was, if I'd gotten results, anything like that.
I also think people don't know what to do. Look,
Sure.
I also don't know your relationship with these people or how close or any of that
Fairly
stuff. But
close.
a lot of stuff, it's one of those that like, it's almost a cat in the box thing. If I don't ask,
But also,
no news is good news.
yeah, I wouldn't have called it that.
Okay.
But yeah, and I'm getting, a talking to about whatever I did wrong or didn't do. And I'm just thinking like, yo, none of this fucking matters. None of this is important. I'm 26 and I could hear back that I have breast cancer.
Yeah.
And I think I put in my 2 weeks like the next day. Yeah.
I'm done with this shit.
Yeah.
So at this point, were you
Yeah.
doing personal training on the side?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that also caused a tiny bit of conflict just with scheduling. But most of that had been worked out. But yeah.
So were you personal training first and then started with Limited, or was it the other way around?
Oh no, I'd been with Limited, Victoria's Secret since I was 21. So I was with them for, or maybe even before that, probably 20, like working part-time when I was in college.
And so then you'd got into lifting and started personal training. So how do you go from?
What a weird career shift, huh?
Yeah, well, I just
Yeah.
don't, so how do you go from having a hobby as lifting? Because I mean, you've got a solid job, and then to go the personal training route. Like for me, like I had the real job, and then I had the hobby with the Highland Games thing. But the Highland Games itself became the job. Like training didn't become
Right.
the job for you. You moved to coaching.
Right. So I would have been like bodybuilding at the
Okay.
time. So I was doing that as a fun hobby, working a normal, 40-hour work week. But I was really, really into the lifting. I was loving what I was doing. And I, got a certificate to be personal trainer, blah, blah, blah. I was coaching like a handful of people. And then I would have started CrossFitting. No, I would have started CrossFit before that. And then I started coaching. And one of the girls that I was CrossFitting with like suggested I do a powerlifting meet with her. And that was kind of the end of that. And then I started diving deeper into powerlifting, finding that, I really loved it. I was really passionate about it. I was fairly successful at it. I enjoyed it. And then I had started taking on clients in the gym that I was training at.
So just kind of organically, people
Yeah.
asking you to.
Yeah, just very, very organically. And by the time I was ready to leave the 9-to-5, or said I was going to leave the 9-to-5, I was
So
like,
it just kind of kept building steam.
it kind of kept building. And I was like, yo, I have enough clients to where, I wouldn't be making what I'm making here because I was making fairly good money, but it's good enough. And how I feel about this job, something else being good enough is fucking great because I
Right,
was
right.
ready to be out.
Yeah, it's fucking tough, right?
Yeah.
Just
and
the
so
retail grind for
I had
a big corporation.
I put in my 2 weeks, I didn't really burn that bridge, put in my 2 weeks. And during that 2
Did you
weeks,
say you did or did not?
I did not.
Okay.
Probably talking about this way does, but so like doesn't matter.
Okay.
And during that 2 week time, I kind of advertised that I would be taking more clients, et cetera, et cetera. Here's how to reach me.
Right on.
And built up that enough to where it got close enough to replacing that income from my job. Yeah. And that was that. But yeah, so being diagnosed was absolutely a catalyst for a lot of things. And most of that is my attitude towards life and living and fucking experiencing as much as you can while you're here.
I mean, so
'Cause-
there's got to be some thanks for it.
yeah.
No doubt, right? Like it's definitely shaped to you to have more of a shit needs to get going. Like the direction we're going to go, it's put a little bit more prompt on you to
Absolutely.
be.
Oh yeah, it
So,
changed my perspective entirely. Because God, when I was 26, like I was just partying and drinking and just
And
not like lifting was fun and I enjoyed it, but I didn't ever really think it could be a career. And yeah, it changed everything for me.
How about this diagnosis then, as a perspective shift from where you have been, stuff like that? Is this not the big superpower change in your life? Is this diagnosis and finding out, right? That this shifts that, this puts this promptness on you, this gives you all this want to do, push yourself in training, grow your business, all this ambition to do more because TikTok.
Absolutely. That's what it is.
Very, very similar to my story.
And I think once I started owning it, that also changed.
And then you get to get rid of it,
Right.
but you don't lose any of all the good that it brought.
Right. What an incredible thing, huh?
Yo. I mean, that's pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah.
That's a really, really fortunate way to get that lesson. I mean, there's some anxiety and there's stress and there's a bunch of bullshit that comes with it for sure. We know that. But
I think I'm equipped to handle it.
I do too. I mean, another question for you is how much has your perspective on it changed in the last year and a half due to psychedelics or anything else?
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just reinforced everything I've already known. That life is short and you have to get to getting.
That's for sure.
And I guess psychedelics has created more unknowns than knowns, as we've discussed. But I think also with, my journey with plant medicine and things like that, our ayahuasca trip, it's also created a really intense sense of gratitude in me, for my body, everything that's done for me. I mean, both of us without our physical abilities, like we aren't here right now.
No, totally different person. Yeah,
And and I know that another thing that's changed dramatically with plant medicine and, psilocybin use and stuff like that is I am less quick to frustration and anger, for sure. And I think it's also instilled a bit of a deeper sense of maybe inner peace, like inner calm.
Yeah, more.
And it's
not more control. Control is not the answer. Or not the best way to describe it.
But it's neither of those things.
Yeah.
It's not fully letting go and letting the universe do what it wants, because this is a great example of me taking the wheel in my own situation. But it's also not, I have full control. I suppose it's more that direction.
Well, it's the letting go of the fact that you didn't choose the genetics. This wasn't a mistake that you made. This wasn't anything other than the fucking color hair you have. Right. And all the other wonderful.
Which turns out to be gray.
Right. And all the other wonderful genetics that you have. You have this, right? This isn't a thing you can pick. So being mad about it's just fucking such a waste of energy.
For sure.
However, you can do something now. Like you're at least lucky enough to be given the chance to make that decision instead of forced to make that decision.
Right. What if we lived 50 years ago? Like, I mean, not even that long ago. I don't know when this genetic testing came out. But, I said it in that post that night, like, I never wanted a normal life. Like, okay, then guess what, Bonnie? You don't get normal problems.
Nah, baby. No way.
And, I think your story has been your surgeries and your knee and everything you've been able to provide and share and resources and give back to your audience and people watching. And okay, this is going to be my story.
Yo, and look, I never expected that was going to be a gimmick of mine, is this fucking...
Oh, but you have and will help so many people. And
I think there's a lot of mindset
that
comes through the rehab stuff and being in pain. I think there's a lot of work.
Yeah. And that's a big part of what I want to share. Like, I want to share every step.
Good.
Like, yo, here's day one recovery. Here's me with my weird bra and my tit drains.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get you some notebooks you can write too.
Yeah. For sure.
Because I think it's a very important thing to show. I mean, not to mention, Look, we both know that you're going to be more adept to handle this because you're healthy and strong.
Yes.
Like, that's another key. Like, we have never slept on our health.
No. I had some chips and queso today, though, for lunch.
Well, aren't you a disappointment? You'll have to sleep in the basement again, just like last time.
Yeah, like I said, if there's anyone equipped to handle it,
Yeah,
we got it.
we got it. I'm here for you. I love you.
I love you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to share. Thanks
Me
for
too.
chatting.